Hey everybody, this is B-Word of the Bleach Brothers podcast. Before we get into today's episode, I want to bring your attention to our Linktree. Please visit Linktree/Bleach Bros podcast for the links to all of our socials, streaming sites, and merch. Linktree is linktr.ee/Bleach Bros podcast, all one word. If you enjoy our content, make sure to give us a like and give us a review on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Also, invite your friends. And with that, let's get started with the show. Bleach Bros podcast is proud to align itself with Jerky Pro, a beef jerky manufacturer established by military and paramilitary veterans.
Available in 3-ounce or 1-pound bags with great flavors such as honey glazed, teriyaki, red hot, apple cinnamon, original, peppered, sweet barbecue, and if you're ballsy enough, nuclear.
Be sure to use our promo code to get some of the best jerky on the market. Use Bleach Bros 5, all lowercase, to take advantage of this offer today.
All right, I am Big Nick from the Gag on This podcast, and I am diddling my taint listening to Bleach Brothers.
Welcome into the Bleach Brothers podcast. This is B-Word, and before I introduce my co-host, I must tell everybody this is an audio program, and so I'm going to try to describe Jake's face for you. It looks like somebody woke up and is trying to drunk remember on pen to paper how to draw Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh from memory, and that's what Jake's face looks like tonight. So Jake, my good buddy Jake, how are you tonight, buddy?
Not very good. I don't know how to draw pieces of shit. Apparently. What the hell? What that? You know what that felt like? That felt like a half-ass. Like you were like, I'm gonna come in and make fun of his face, and then you were trying to do it off the dome, and it came out terribly. Terrible.
You're 100% correct because that's exactly what happened there.
Ugh. Like it was like I was like, okay, who am I drawing? And then it went to a turd that's not relevant at all. I was just like, oh, like what are you doing here? What are you doing? What are we even doing here, B-Word? This is bullshit.
It's funny because you and I were Bald Eagle Freedom Party, but recently, because of the headlines and whatever, I decided I was going to try to spend some time watching The Crown. Now, what I didn't realize is that Prince Philip, the actor who plays him, is Daemon Targaryen from House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
And I have a really hard time seeing the actor in the two different roles simultaneously and really not allowing them to kind of meld. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Winston Churchill had a picture of him painted. It was commissioned by whatever their government is over there. And it was for his 80th birthday. And he hated the way that it looked because he said it made him look old and decrepit and all these different things. And the artist was basically like, look, I am just drawing what I see. And if you don't like it, then you need to look in the mirror and see your own discrepancies with yourself or whatever, right? And so separately from that, I heard a joke today that I absolutely butchered that I was trying to say about your face. And so it completely blew up. But here we are. Couple minutes into the episode.
And that was a whole roundabout thing. All I was thinking was my sister just got 2 new kittens and she named them, I think it was Harry and fucking Elizabeth or something. Two fucking regal people from Brit that I can give a shit about. We dropped tea in the harbor for a fucking reason. Hot dog, Bald Eagle Freedom Party, motherfucker. I yelled that at her that she needs to eat the cats. And 2, be a goddamn American and name them something that's a lot better instead of some British shit that we don't give a fuck about.
Right, exactly. And I feel kind of weird watching the Crown just because it's not something that I necessarily care about, but it actually is a pretty decent drama. So, you know, in the middle of just trying to find things to watch, it was interesting. It seems relevant. So, good acting in it for sure. I like the actor who plays Daemon Targaryen. He was also the villain in Morbius, and he was Doctor Who for a minute too. And he's got a really weird looking forehead.
Yeah,
I don't really understand that.
Can I ask you this though? And I know everybody's over the Queen shit and everything, but whatever. Do you think you'd be watching the show though if all that didn't happen?
Absolutely not.
See, and that's the problem, B-Word. That's the problem right there, B-Word. Stop it. You stop it. Bad B-Word. Do not watch a show because you're falling into the pop culture bullshit.
No, I tried to watch the first episode probably a couple of years ago, and it just wasn't of interest to me because I was at the time I was watching. I don't even remember what it was. It used to be like some sort of British PBS drama about some sort of house or whatever, and like it kind of got big, and it was one of those recommendations for The Crown, and so
Downtown
I watched
Abbey?
Downton Abbey. That's what it was.
Oh, it's Downton. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. See, that's why I can't watch it. I call it Downtown, and everybody gives me shit that it's Downton. It's whatever. Yeah. Shut up.
Well,
put your tea in your ass.
I have a buddy of mine named Steven. His name is spelled Stevan.
Steven.
And he parks his car in the garage and he rides chariots and shit. And he's British, but he is absolutely Bald Eagle Freedom Party. So he and I have actually had quite a bit of conversation since the Queen has died. And I know that I don't want to like lose our audience here because nobody really cares about that. But it just became a madness thing where I just turned it on one day while I was doing homework and I was like, this is kind of interesting. Maybe I'll keep watching it. We'll see.
Do you feel like there's shows out there, though, that you just can't get into? Like, I have a list. I have a long list of shows I've tried, and I just can't fucking get it.
I have tried numerous times to get into Peaky Blinders.
Me too.
And I have been unable to, and everybody tells me it is the show to watch. And that once I'm in it, I'm in it. And I had the same struggle with Game of Thrones when I first started to watch Game of Thrones. It was hard to watch, mainly because of the amount of characters in it, and I started to kind of lose track of who's who. But I didn't really have that problem with Peaky Blinders. I don't know if it was the level of the accents, the stories, the pace. I don't really know. I'm going to try to pick it up again and just try, And if
I'm trying that one now.
Do it. Oh, okay.
See, for years it took me forever to do The Office, and then I finally did, and I keep telling you to. But Turn is another show.
Oh, I've never even heard of Turn. What is Turn?
It's about America versus fucking Bald Eagle Freedom Party shit, dude. I don't know. I got through barely one episode, but everybody kept telling it, and I was like, okay. Couldn't do it. Deadwood's another one. I just can't get through that.
I don't Deadwood.
Know. You know what I hate is when people are like, oh, it takes like 9 episodes, or it takes like 3 episodes, or it takes like...
If I have to get through the first season to even enjoy it, I'm turning it off. Like you have my intent. I get it if you don't like the first episode. That's why they call it a pilot, right? Like right. It's you try it, you sink your feet into the water, you kind of see how it feels. My problem is that if I'm on episode 5, I've given you, 2 hours, 5 hours of my life that I can't get back. And if I still don't like it, I just don't like it.
I agree, especially in the binging world we're in these days.
But. Yeah. Well, anyway, man, before we get too far, you ready to take a break?
Yeah, always.
Behold, the most powerful podcast about everything on Earth that is effing weird. The name, That Is Effing Weird.
Oh my goodness, such power.
For they shall cover everything from cryptids to outer space. Nothing shall be off limits to this podcast.
When and where's this beast of a podcast?
They shall put on their knowledge onto the airwaves of your favorite podcast sites and release a new podcast every Sunday by midnight.
Ah!
That is effing
weird. Welcome back, everybody. B-word, you know how my brain works. I think you do. I hope our fans have caught on for a while, but let's just go off the wall crazy here and a little weird. I like aliens.
Yep.
I love sci-fi. It's probably my favorite genre of films, and I don't know, genre, right?
Right.
So let's do a little like spacey alien talk tonight, okay?
All right, man.
And I'll start with this. If you can live in any Hollywood-based alien universe, and what I mean by that is like not normal to our universe, right? Not just Hollywood-esque, but like, a space-style universe, which one you live in?
Star Wars. I am living in the galaxy far, far away.
But hold on. Do you think like you're going to be a Jedi?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all.
All right, I'm on this now.
Yeah, I'm going to be some side character that kind of has a quest, and my quest is going to be probably working as a slave on some whatever, right? Like I am not that talented in numerous areas. I just maybe hope to be the bartender. Right. I would love to be the bartender, but I think that there are a number of characters that are interesting, whether it be their backstories, whether it be their talents, whether it be their character in general. Like if I could communicate with like Chewbacca as an example, like I can just talk with him and he can at me and like I completely understand it, right?
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool. Plus, man, you and I have had this conversation before. There are some sexy Star Wars characters.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Twi'leks.
Yeah, me too, dude.
Man, dude, my face just lit up. So that turn, like me being confused, is gone.
Yeah.
See, I feel stupid because this is my own question. I didn't even think of the Star Wars universe. How dumb am I? I'm actually going to go the exact opposite and cause some hate here, but I want to live in the Star Trek universe.
Really?
I do, and here's why. Everything seems easy there. Seems like there's no taxes. It seems like you don't have a ton of real bad guys besides some people that look very, very different that are in ships that I never have to worry about. I could go live on some lizard planet and some bald guy might come talk to me in a yellow suit and shoot me with a phaser. But I could just, it seems like out of all the space universes, it seems the easiest to live in, B-Word. I don't have to worry about dying. I don't have to worry about politics. I don't have to worry about taxes. I can fly every now and then. It seems like the easiest living. Like Star Wars, there's Darth Vader and a giant fucking planet that could blow up other planets and little fur balls that I don't want to talk to and crazy creatures. In fucking like Predator universe, I'm going to die. In the Alien universe, I'm going to die. In the Critters universe, I'm going to die. Do you see that? But in
Starship Troopers, you're going to die.
I'm going to die, but it's easy. It's just the easiest. Like nobody gives a shit.
What about if you lived in the Fifth Element?
I thought about that, but then I just thought it just seems like such a weird comedic, like it would be like a parody of life, right?
I feel like it would be an outer space Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone.
Right. And no, I honestly feel like I'm just going to be a guy living in one of those crappy little apartments going to work like I am
just
now.
Your little pod.
There's just aliens now, though. That's it. That's all that changed. Just aliens showed up. Star Trek seems like they've advanced to a certain point where they just realize, okay, all we need is food, sex, and whatever, right? Water.
So Star Trek really reminds me of outer space cruise ships.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
on a cruise ship you have like 5,500 people or whatever it carries, right?
Right.
And I'm sorry, I think it's bigger than that. I think it's 30,000 people or some big ass number, right? And they're just on the water. And you have all these different segments of people that are all on there. They're all doing the same activities, or at least something close to it. There's the nightlife. There's the pool. There's all of that sort of stuff, right? So you have the workers, and you have the guests, and you have whatever. I think of that as the Starship Enterprise.
Yes.
And I'm curious as to why we only see maybe 20 of these characters, because on the Starship Enterprise there has to be tens of thousands of people on it.
Here's where you would see it. 80s movies. 80s movies had it stupid in the sense like, let's make a movie about a bartender and let's make a movie about a janitor and let's make a movie. Like nobody cares about those other people on their B-word. We care about the captains flying the ship. Hence why I want to live in that universe, because nobody really cares, but it's an easy life. It's an easy life. I'm just hanging out on a fucking cruise ship in space.
Would you let Scotty beam you up?
Yep. All day. I'd let him beam parts of me at a time.
So I think I'm going to change my answer. Like Star Wars is still up there. I want to live in the Spaceballs universe.
Oh God, no, you don't.
Yes,
no,
I
you
do.
Don't. You just want to be
do.
Barf. I will say your best costume of your life was Barf.
100%.
And all right, here's the thing. All right, I'll give you this. I'm coming with you then.
I'm totally good with that.
Me and you are going to be. That's the
Dude,
only place
we can travel the world in an RV.
Right. That's the only place in history. Like that's where I actually fit in being the hero.
Star.
I fit being the hero in that universe. Like if you put me in the Star Wars universe, I'm not Luke. I'm not anybody important. I'm just like you, like not the bartender. I'm like Weedo, whatever. I'm putting together some shitty fucking rocket on a planet, Tatooine. But in that universe, I am the hero. I am a slapstick, stupid junkie that's barely getting by with the giant Swarch.
Who's your favorite Spaceballs character?
It's hard. I'd say, the guy who makes the noises.
I was actually thinking about him. The beeps,
the skeets,
yeah. He's like, you got the beeps, dude. It's the great part, and they've jammed the radar or whatever. It's like this big old jar of jam that actually hits the radar. Great film, absolutely great film. But let's talk about here. So, being that you're talking about weird shit in space, and especially with Hollywood movies and universes and all this sort of stuff, if you're forced to raise an alien baby from a film or TV series, which one are you choosing and why?
So I have 3 answers for this. I'll narrow it down, but I got 3 right out the gate. The first one's Alf. I hate cats. I never watched Alf, so I don't really know. I know he's got a deep voice and he was weird. I've never watched Alf, though, in my life.
Seriously?
No, I just know the pop culture. Like, and here's the thing. That's a show for me. I know, B-Word, but I've just never watched it. It's like the Wonder Years meets Star Wars, I guess, right?
No, not even close.
Okay. So then I have no idea. But he eats cats. I know that much. He doesn't like cats, and he seems like a cool buddy. Like, he seems like my little bro, right?
He's your couch potato. Yeah.
Yeah. The second one would be a Yautja, the Predator, but a little baby one. Like, have you ever watched? And here's why. I would train him to be my little fucking demon, like, killer. Like, I would have an assassin because I'd get him as a baby, right? And I raised him up.
But
So
I
I'd
feel
teach
like
him.
this is what people who raise bears think until the bear like actually eats them.
Right. I get that. But like, also, they look adorable. Have you ever, cosplay, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen little kids when they dress up as Yautja? It's so adorable, dude. It would just be the cutest thing ever. Okay. But then
Weird,
I was
but
like,
all right,
no,
I'll
because
accept
like
that.
you, I thought of the bear thing. Like, I'm going to die eventually. Like or I'm going to raise such a shitty predator. He's not even going to be a predator. He's actually going to be prey. He's just going to be sitting on the couch doing nothing. And I'm going to yell at him like a 13-year-old.
Right.
Then I got a little creepy. And I wanted to be like Jabba the Hutt and put a Twi'lek on a chain.
But remember, these are children, Jake.
Oh, then no, I can't have a Twi'lek then.
No, don't make it weird, bro. We are a not suitable for work podcast, but we
I don't want
go
ET.
there.
I don't care about a thing that barely talks and is a vegan and wants to touch me with a glowing finger.
Right.
See, and a thing, I would like a xenomorph. I think I could train it, but I'll die.
Yeah.
I'm going with Alf. Just me and him hanging out. Because I imagine it'd be like me and Ted, like Ted the movie. Just me and him just talking shit, drinking beer, hanging out on the couch, watching football.
So I also went with Alf on this question, but I have a close second. And the reason why it's a close second is because it's been a long time since I've watched the movie, and I don't know if he's a child.
There's a movie?
Yeah, it's Paul. Have you seen
Paul. Oh, I thought you said there was an Alf movie. That's why.
No. But Paul, I don't know if he's a child. I think he's a grown alien.
Yeah, but
or I don't. He might even be a teenager. But he just kind of seems like that. Like I think you may have just brought it up. But Ted with the teddy bear, he just seems like he would be my Ted. He would be the dude that I could drink beers with. We can go to strip clubs, do all this sort of stuff. Like, it'd be interesting. I just don't know if he is a child or an adolescent. So that's why he's a close second. You said Alf for all the right reasons. First off, Alf is comedic. I love Alf. I think it would be funny. It'd be good conversation. We could sit down on the couch and just watch football and eat potato chips. He can munch on the cat. And like, I'm just sitting there going, yeah, get rid of that fucking cat, because I hate cats too.
Right.
And, we just go about that. He would be a good road trip buddy too, because I think he would be entertaining from place to place. I do have to classify this. I don't know that it's ever been said if Alf is grown or an adolescent, but every time I've watched Alf, he seems like he's an adolescent. So that's why I went with this. If I had to choose a baby, I'm going Grogu. I'm going Grogu from The Mandalorian. And the reason why I'm going Grogu from The Mandalorian is because there's a lot of people in the Star Wars universe that can kick my ass. He could save my ass single-handedly.
Then I'm going with the baby yogurt from the Spaceballs universe. And he's going to help me become a millionaire with merchandising, baby, merchandising.
May the Schwartz be with you. So, yeah, I mean, that's an interesting conversation. But let me ask you this. Mogwais. Okay, gremlins.
Mm-hmm.
Are they aliens?
No.
Because I think if Mogwais were an alien, I would almost want to choose them, right? Like,
can't.
How
That's
would
a
you
paradox
not
of
go
life.
with a gizmo?
Because, okay, it's cute and adorable, but there's so many problems with it, dude. You can't get it wet. So how does it drink water? You can't feed it after midnight. Every day is after midnight. You can't put it in light, which now they've proven in the second film that it's even a fucking flashlight. So how do you exist with this creature, B-word?
You put it in a box.
That sounds terrible.
That sounds terrible.
Sounds terrible. Okay, and it's not. Here's the other problem. It's not an alien. It's a fucking
an alien,
demon,
bro. No, it's an alien.
There have been long Reddit arguments about this, and I'll tell you right now. It doesn't matter what Google says. Somebody's going to be an asshole during the show and try to figure this out. And here's the problem: even the people that created Gremlins can't figure it out, because originally they said it's from China and it's part of a demon, and then they said it's from the Earth, and now they're trying to say it's an alien. So it really depends on who you go with, but it is not a fucking alien, dude.
Bro, you know this. I'm getting ready to graduate college here soon, so I brought some fucking references. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, good for you.
Mogwais
Wikipedia,
are
my ass.
100% an alien. The Mogwai race was created on a distant planet by a benevolent alien inventor named Mog Turman. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's that. He created it to be gentle, intelligent, capable of quick reproduction, and also to spread out to different civilizations. So the fact that this was created by an alien, it means it is an alien. Like, I don't care if they first landed in China. I don't care, man. Like, COVID was created in China. Eat me. The fact of the matter is that Mogwais are aliens, bro.
The same person that argues that also says the documentarian Joe Dante personally believed that Mogwais came from China when there was a result of mating a dragon and a panda. I have references to you, cock ass. What I'm telling you right now is they have never mentioned in any of the movies.
Have you ever seen a dragon and a panda get it on?
You ever seen a dragon? Shut the fuck up. Okay? Like, you've heard of Mogwarian or whatever
planet
you're talking
about? I have seen a dragon. I've seen a dragon and a donkey get it on.
It could happen.
And they've made dragon asses.
Yeah.
I like, this is a legit thing. Like, there was a Shrek that hooked up with a human. Like, it happened, right? Like, that happened. I have not seen a dragon and a panda, animated or not.
It can happen.
Get it on.
It can happen.
Like, bro, donkey was holding that tail while he was getting it, bro.
That's fine.
He was on his back two legs getting it with a dragon.
You know what dragon I imagine now is Mulan's little Eddie Murphy dragon running around.
You can't do that.
Yes,
I can do that, because
that's the dragon.
You got Eddie Murphy's a dragon, and then Donkey is a dragon.
That's why this makes sense. That's why this makes sense.
No.
Yes, you have, what is his name? Mushu. You got Mushu running around pouncing on a red panda, dude, just banging the hell out of it, and all of a sudden, jumps out.
You just took it down a level that doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense.
They're not aliens. I'm gonna die on this hill.
Your consistency here is wrong.
You are wrong.
You're wrong.
You don't even care. You don't even care about this universe. You hate creatures features. Shut the fuck up, B-word. God.
I love it, because I really don't have a dog in the fight. But to be honest with you, I still think that Mogwais are aliens, and that's where we're just going to leave that.
We'll find out if they ever release the third film, or they're also supposed to release a TV series now, but who knows?
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah. So you came in here talking about space. There's a lot of movies about space that involve obviously space travel, but for a number of reasons. You've got Interstellar, where they're trying to find another habitable planet. You've got The Martian, similar reasons. You've got Apollo 13, just to try to travel to the moon. Like, just a whole. You got Armageddon to get rid of a big old space rock, right? So like, there's a ton of different reasons why people would go into space. But let me give you a 2-part question. Would you travel space, yes or no?
Nope.
And okay, fair enough. But if the world was ending and you could populate another planet, like whether and I'll give you the out on here. Would you populate the planet here and just let your offspring go?
Okay, no, I don't want to travel in space.
Why?
It's scary as hell. Boring. We don't have enough travel. I mean, even if we came up with something, I don't know. But now, however, if they said they could cryogenically and they already found a planet and it was habitable and they wanted me to go help populate it, yes, because I'm a stupid man. And you are telling me that sex is at the end of this train. I am going on that train with my wife to go populate the hell out of that. I am the dragon humping a panda, making Mogwais all over that planet, dude. Okay?
What if for some reason, and I don't wish this upon your wife, but what if for some reason she could not medically do it or something of that nature, right? And civilization is in your hands, but the problem is that you're not mating with another human specimen. You're now mating with an alien to be able to populate another planet.
Is it a Twi'lek?
It's it's whatever you want it to be, bro.
Oh man, that's tough.
On that note, Is Princess Leia an alien?
Yes.
Right. So like, the whole realm of aliens, you have Twi'leks and you have human
I'm not
species
going.
type. Okay.
I'm not going. I don't know. I guess I'm at the point in my life where I'm emotionally invested, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I also don't want that much power. I would say if you're coming to me, there's got to be another dude around here that's going to go. Like you're single. I'd be like, send B-word. Make him fit in the ship. I don't know. Make it happen and get him out of here. And you go do it. You know what I mean?
They already made me fit in the ship, bro. You've seen Wall-E.
The difference is, though, B-word, I don't care. We've talked about this. I don't care if I die. So it's like, I'm not afraid to go into space to die, but I don't care. Like if it was inevitable, like the end fate here, I'm like, okay, cool. Earth's over.
What if traveling into space is just you going on an airplane that can reach like that level, but you like never actually go into space? You know what I'm talking about? Like you hit
I just have no desire, though.
Stratosphere or whatever.
What? Wow, I'm up high. I don't care. Our airplanes are already uncomfortable. Okay. So for me to afford that seat, I'm getting a shitty seat. I'm probably not even getting a window seat. Somebody's kicking the back of my seat. It's got a shitty meal. The air conditioner doesn't work. I'm too hot. Like, this is just that sounds miserable. You know what I like? I like being on the ground.
Because it's space travel, you're having to wear a mask.
Right. So see, fuck all that. Fuck all that, dude. And my tray table has to be up, and I can't use Wi-Fi and whatever other stupid rule they're going to have. I can't drink out of 9 straws at the same time because the geographic atmosphere is going to explode inside the plane.
Well, you're also going to injure a space turtle.
Right. I don't know. I had a dream like years ago. This is a thought. And this is a stupid thought, but I don't care. You know how the Earth is in orbit and it spins and we're in an axis? When we fly in a trajectory that looks like it's always left and right. And I understand how it works. The universe is all around us. But what happens if you fall down, like you fly down from the Earth?
That's a great question. See,
I've never.
No, I had this exact same thought several years ago. Like, there's no, like, how do you determine if you're actually going north?
Right.
And because now you're not going around the Earth, right? Yeah, you're not on an axis. So like if you are now like in a 6-dimension or an 8-dimensional like plane, right? And so you're either going, I mean, how, at least on Earth, we have latitude and longitude where you can say, okay, these are my coordinates. In space, there's nothing.
That's what I don't get.
Yeah.
And I know it envelops around us. So there's got to be stars above and stars below. Like if you shot from Antarctica and you just went straight down, you're going to get to something apparently, right?
Right.
But I mean, also it seems weird, right? Because if you look at the map, and I understand it's 2D to make people understand it, but also everything's in orbit in a line. Because I had a horrible dream years ago where I was falling planet to planet, those dreams of falling, but I was in space. And so it was miserable. Like it was that nightmare. I couldn't wake up, and in the pit of my stomach, I wanted to puke.
Yeah.
It was scary as hell.
So you were floating between planets.
Well, basically. Yeah, but I was like, I don't know why. The way gravity was working was messed up. It was weird. Yeah, it was weird. It sucked.
So Neil deGrasse Tyson, however you pronounce it, I was watching a short video of him where he was talking with whoever his co-host is. I don't know if it's a podcast or like they have a regular program or whatever, where he was talking about actually it may have been a Joe Rogan clip, but if you were like some sentient being that was so massive, right? And in your hand, the Earth looked like a marble. If you felt the Earth in that, it would feel like a perfect sphere. Just because all the mountains and everything, they wouldn't really like matter.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to feel it. Yeah.
Right. And so it's just absolutely perfect. It's almost like if it's as if it was machined. Like when I think of space, dude, I think of everything that's out there. To answer my question real quick, just so that way we get out of the way, I think I would space travel and I think I would populate the Earth. I just don't know that I would like it. So there's the quick answer. But back to this, I think that space is so magnificent to me. Like it's huge, right? It's massive. We always hear about, oh, well, there's a potential habitable planet that's 20 light years away. For you to travel 20 light years, that's insane, dude. That's generations of travel. Mm-hmm. Like it's you yourself would never make it there. Your children's children, your children's grandchildren would never make it there. You would have an entire society spending their entire life in space. It's just, it's crazy.
Here's the problem too, B-word. I already hate a 5-hour flight, right?
Right. Yeah.
I hate a 45-minute flight. And I understand even if I was asleep, but like the issue is like this. Remember when we used to have the internet when it first came out? How it would take like 20 minutes to download a nipple?
Yep.
And now if it takes longer than 2 seconds, you're flipping out.
Right.
In the future, when they fly to other planets, even if it takes 30 seconds, people are going to complain that it took 30 seconds and not instantly, because everything else on Earth will probably be instant. So it's that type of thing. But I mean, I don't know. I guess here's the shitty thing, B-word. Imagine like Interstellar. They put you asleep and they have you fly somewhere super far, and then you get there and nothing's there. It sucks. So you wasted your whole life asleep for nothing.
There were really two things about Interstellar that I found super fascinating, and I know we're going to get into space movies here shortly, so quick teaser there. But the planet that had the waves in Interstellar, like the whole water planet or whatever, it was so close to the black hole that it created that time warp.
Right.
That's a legit thing.
Yeah.
Like that was based on science. And to think that you can actually go somewhere and do something like that, and then everybody around you like ages crazily, like that's interesting. But also there's the movie it's not called Companions. It was with Jennifer Lawrence and Chris
Pratt.
Where they were basically traveling through space, and it was supposed to take 200 years or whatever, and everybody sleeps in pods. And Chris Pratt, his pod wakes up and like he's there by himself. Like I just think that there's a whole lot of issues with space travel, especially over the long haul.
That was
like
Passengers. That was a good movie.
Passengers.
It was decent.
It was a decent movie.
It was one of those movies where it was good, and then it got to the ending and it sucked.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so since we're talking about movies, and let's just get right into it, dude. I love space movies. You know, you already talked about, what, the space and sci-fi and all this sort of stuff are like right up your alley. I don't want to get right into the list, but on a scale with sci-fi, how high is space movies for you?
Oh, it's number one. It's my favorite genre. It's close between creature features, but here's the reason sci-fi outwins is because it involves a lot of creatures that are not normal.
Right.
So it gives me that, because I also love fantasy, but fantasy is more down to earth, even though it's out of the realm, right?
Right.
It's not traveling all over. But sci-fi is my favorite genre of film. Space movies is usually up there, and I mean they usually meld together. I mean, I will say for this everlasting movie reel of space flicks, I didn't pick anything that's on Earth with a creature coming, because I consider those creature features. They are sci-fi, but I picked movies that are mainly dealing with going to space, in space, traveling in space, something like that.
Okay, so
we're stick to that rule.
We're similar here too, because I didn't pick anything that's necessarily on Earth, but it does involve obviously people from Earth. Some of them do, but I also have a couple honorable mentions. Now, let me ask you this. Are you doing any film franchises either in honorable mentions or in your top 5?
I'll say it this way. Yes and no. I didn't include a whole franchise in there. I picked a film from a franchise.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's fair to say this franchise, because we can all say Star Wars is one of the fucking greatest sci-fi space franchises ever. But it's not fair to say, because there's 9 films or whatever counting, right? Or even if you're just counting the original 3, that's like number 2, because that's 3 films that you can argue.
So before we get into our list, I just want to share some of the feedback that we got from social media. So Jay says the Alien franchise, Armageddon, Galaxy Quest, Treasure Planet, and then Star Wars's, which I imagine are like all the Star Wars. Aaron said Aliens, Armageddon, Spaceballs, Star Wars, and Star Trek. Steven said Doctor Who, Star Wars, Interstellar, Avatar, and The Martian. Mary said Star Wars, Austin Powers, The Spy That Shagged Me, Men in Black, Space Cowboys, and Lucy in the Sky. Brad said Spaceballs, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Aliens, Empire Strikes Back, and Starship Troopers. I appreciate Brad being specific with his Star Wars pick there.
Right.
And those are our Facebook shares. And we had quite a bit of shared stuff too on Twitter. We actually had quite a bit there. I'm probably not going to get into everybody's here, but definitely good feedback. Thank you guys for participating in this as well. But again, space movies, We've got Cody with Star Wars Alien Independence Day, Blade Runner Ender's Game. We've got the Porn Stash podcast, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Moon, which I know is one of your favorite films, The Martian, Star Wars A New Hope, Star Wars Empire Strikes Back, and last one here, I'm going to say Drinks and Things podcast. They've got Spaceballs, Star Wars, Star Trek, Treasure Planet, and Titan AE.
See, I will say this, Treasure Planet, sneaky good fucking pick. Good reimagining of Treasure Island. It's one of those forgotten Disney films, sort of like The Black Cauldron. People know it exists, but they don't know it exists. You know what I mean?
Right.
Great film, great characters, great space travel. Yeah, I know a few people mentioned that. A lot of Spaceballs, a lot of Star Wars. You know, a lot of the norms you're going to see. The funny thing is, and I will say this, and this is according to my list too, most of them are in the fantastical realm. I'll spoiler this. I didn't, like, Apollo 13 doesn't make my list. I didn't go with anything too real.
Okay.
I guess I went with, like, I mean, yeah, they're good films and they seem nice, but I wanted something that gave me more, I guess.
Okay.
I think when I think of space, I imagine more. You
All
know
right,
what I mean?
well,
I believe.
Let's get into it, man. What's your honorable mention?
The first one's Titan AE. Somebody mentioned it. That's my favorite. And it was hard because I actually wanted to go with an animated film on my honorable mentions. And I mean, WALL-E.
WALL-E's a good
Treasure
one.
Planet. I actually wrote all three of them, and Titan AE wins out. I had a crush on who Drew Barrymore's character plays, even though she's a cartoon, but we've talked about that with me on the show. I liked all the voices in the show. I also thought it was one of those films that I think doesn't get enough love, and it's actually a really good movie.
Okay.
Amazing fucking soundtrack. Creed's on
soundtrack,
it. They did a good job.
Yeah.
But that's my first honorable mention. What's yours?
Space Jam.
Oh shit! I didn't. Well, that's on Earth.
No, it's not. They took Michael Jordan from Earth to whatever the other planet is to be able to compete.
You're right.
And I too wanted to put an animated one on there, and I had a few issues. I wanted to put WALL-E on here because I am not a huge animated film person, as we've talked about numerous times. I love WALL-E. WALL-E is such a great movie.
Yeah.
But from a what do I like better perspective, from my own, like, growing up and what fascinated me, Space Jam was the animated movie that made my list.
That's a good movie. And yeah, I see it. I get it. I guess I look at that more, and that's another thing. That's a sports movie to me.
Yeah. Well, it is a sports movie, but it happens entirely in space.
That's a good pick,
except for when they, you know,
come to Earth and pick him up playing baseball.
Yeah, absolutely.
My second one, people might hate me for this, but it's sort of like my Beatles opinion. They suck. 2001: A Space Odyssey makes my list for honorable mention.
Hate that.
Here's why. I agree with you. I don't think it's a good film. I'll say this. I don't think it's a terrible film. I think it's a groundbreaking film. And the reason it makes my list, I think it helped change sci-fi films for the better. And that's why it makes an honorable mention, because it's a fucking pain to get through, dude.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack's garbage, and you feel like you got to be high to enjoy it. Like, and it's long as fuck.
I still remember going to that little airplane hangar movie theater that was in Pahrump, and we saw Red Planet.
Yeah.
And that movie was terrible.
I like that movie.
Terrible. I hate that film.
I like that movie.
And that reminds me of 2001: A Space Odyssey, just because of how slow paced it is and bad acting and everything.
No, but we went to see Mission to Mars, not Red Planet.
Oh, that's right.
Mission to Mars is like 2001 Odyssey, because Red Planet has Val Kilmer, which is also a good bad movie. It's a good bad movie, but 2001: A Space Odyssey only makes the list for the appreciation I have for it, because I think people need to get the fuck over. Like, I was looking up the other day just because, like, the top 100 movies on the planet or whatever, you know. And it's like all these old fucking films that nobody's watching anymore or cares about. And just like, it's good to know where you come from. Doesn't mean it's the greatest thing ever. Like, Citizen Kane's got to be fucking topped. It's been topped. Knock it off. It's not 2001: A Space Odyssey is not number 5 on the fucking planet. Okay?
Yeah, Citizen Kane is a great movie as far as what it did for the industry, right?
Exactly.
How they began to make movies after that point. To me, watching Citizen Kane now, it's not the world's greatest movie.
2001: A Space Odyssey is great for what it did for the sci-fi community and movies. So that's why it makes my honorable mention. I can't put it in my top 5, but I also can't shit on it too entirely to say that I can't mention it without realizing that it helped make other great, amazing, groundbreaking films.
Okay. Well, I agree with you there. So my On my second honorable mention here is Spaceballs. And you know that I love Spaceballs. Like I love everything about Spaceballs. I had a really hard time with space movies, mainly because I feel like that there's a really solid lineup of space movies. We talked about Passengers, which is not on my list. I like the movie. We've talked about Starship Troopers is not on my list. I like the movie, but there's a lot of good space movies out here. Spaceballs to me is that middle school me watching this film, where it's just crazy shenanigans. I watched it after I watched all the Star Wars films that were available at the time. I really enjoyed the mockery of it. I love the characters. Spaceballs is it for me, man.
That's good. I can see that. I'm surprised it actually didn't make your top 5, knowing how much you love Spaceballs.
Yeah, it didn't.
But that means I know one of yours on your list, and I know we're going to argue about that. But my number 5 is going to be Starship Troopers.
Okay.
I love the book. I love the satire. It's one of the few films that I enjoy them breaking the fourth wall in weird ways. Yeah. But I also enjoy like the weird commercials in between. Also, there's boobies and subies in it.
Boobies and subies.
And the funny thing is as a kid, I loved Denise Richards. And as I got older, I loved, what is her name? The frizzy redhead. Oh, God. Diz.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, dude. I'm a big fan of that now. That natural, just like fucking
Dizzy.
Banging hot. Yeah.
Dizzy Flores.
Yeah. Diz. Fucking
yeah.
yes. And so you get to see her tits. That's an amazing part. But it's just a fun film. And it's a perfect space movie because it shows you like the reality of like how it probably could be if we were getting invaded. Like it's not all just like, oh, we show up and we travel there fast and this and that. Like it's just, I don't know. It seems the most unrealistic, if that makes sense.
I like the film. It doesn't make my top 5. To be honest with you, that movie kind of is put in a category with like Mars Attacks. Okay. It's a good storyline. It's kind of weird. It's interesting, but it's just not like prime filmmaking for me. Like I see a lot of errors with it. Mm-hmm. And you may find that there's some errors in some of my top 5 as well. But it just, to me, I like the movie. I appreciate it. Didn't make my top 5. But it's a good film. I'm not going to argue with you. It's a good film. So, my number 5, ironically, is going to kind of match up with the number. I'm putting The Fifth Element in there. I like The Fifth Element. Bruce Willis in that film did a really good job. The storyline's fun. The characters are fun. It's kind of weird. It's just very bright and, has the potential to really ruin itself, and it never did. And I really enjoyed that. The Fifth Element to me is kind of like that. Oh shit! Why am I missing the movie name? It's like the movie with the Mountain Dew guy's the president.
Idiocracy.
Idiocracy. It's like space Idiocracy to me. I have a true appreciation of Idiocracy. The Fifth Element's great. Also has boobies and subies in it, which I appreciate. But it gets you thinking. It's comedic. It's action packed. I like it. Fifth Element's my number 5.
See, and to me, it's a little over the top, but then I really can't crap on that. Like, you know what I mean? Because like Chris Tucker's character is like crazy.
Yeah.
And like the singing aliens, everybody's a little crazy in it. I mean, I have such a crush on the orange hair chick, especially like certain things she says like kaboom. I don't know. I find that scene so hot.
Right. Before you name your number 4, I just have to say on my list, I purposefully chose not to put in any sort of franchise. Okay. So just so we're clear there. So as I go through my list.
Well, see, and as I named number 4, as I said, I wasn't going to crap on the fact I'm over the top. But the thing that always goes into my list, like any of these everlasting lists, is something that if it's on, I'm always going to watch it. Something that has rewatchability for me. And it's actually The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
I like that film.
I love that book. I love that film. The characters are over the top, but the universe is over the top. It's a lot of fun. Very well acted. A little crazy at times. But it's a great, fun movie. And, like people might shit on me for not putting like amazing, great films on my list, like The Martian, which it's not on my list. I'll just spoil that out there because I thought it was a good movie. I didn't think it was a great movie, and I don't want to watch it all the time.
No, I get that. I get that. And that's part of what's on my list is that I will watch it every single time it's on. And so, fun fact, The Martian is not on my list either. My number 4 is actually Armageddon, another Bruce Willis film. I didn't do that by choice. It was just happenstance that I chose 2 Bruce Willis films. Armageddon has a fun place in my heart because I thought the character dynamics in that film were impeccable. Everybody played their role excellent. You had Steve Buscemi being this weird, crazy guy in space. You have Owen Wilson being Owen Wilson. You've got Ben Affleck in there and his love interest with Steven Tyler's daughter. You've got the soundtrack, which was actually a really good soundtrack for that film. So I enjoy Armageddon. It's campy, it's ridiculous, but anytime it's on, I can watch it.
It's not one of my favorite movies. All I think about is the song and 8th grade dances and trying to hide an awkward boner while dancing close to a girl. That was my Armageddon. The other thing is it goes in my theory of 2 because at the same time Deep Impact was coming out.
Yeah.
And not that I'm saying Deep Impact's a better movie. Armageddon's a better movie. But to me, I'll always correlate the 2 together. And it was just one of those things like, they're both here. Okay, great. Into the World stuff. And I don't know. It just looks like, it reminds me of Remember the Titans meets Into the World. Like, just the way it's directed, the soundtrack, the directing, everything, because they're both Ron Howard films. Am I wrong? Or
I don't think Ron Howard did Remember the Titans.
Well, maybe he didn't, but Remember Titans directed like a Ron Howard film, so it all makes sense.
Yeah.
But
so, what's your number 3?
Star Wars: A New Hope.
Okay.
And it's not my favorite Star Wars. Empire Strikes Back is, but to me, it's the one that I remember space the most with Star Wars. Okay. The opening scene with the Death Star flying the X-Wings to the Death Star or not the Death Star, with the giant battle star cruiser, whatever it's called, but seeing the X-Wings fight in space, stuff like that. That film, I remembered more about space than the planets.
Right.
Because all the other Star Wars, like Ewoks, I remember Andor and Empire Strikes Back. I remember the Dagobah system where Yoda lives and, and Hoth. So Star Wars: A New Hope is the film that I would pick for the best space movie due to me correlating it more with space and also what they did with ships and explosions and filming and creating great filmmaking and also another groundbreaking film. But I actually liked this film. So that's the one I would pick. Not the franchise, just A New Hope, but yeah.
Okay. All right. No, I'm all about that. So my number 3 is interesting. So I thought about putting like Alien on here. I thought about, because I like Alien 1 better than all of them. I thought about putting like Star Wars on here. I thought about even the Star Trek like continuation movie that they had in like 2009 or whatever. I really enjoyed that film too. But it didn't make the list. And the one that you can kind of call it a franchise right now, but the second movie hasn't released yet. So I think I kind of clear myself on that, is Avatar. I enjoyed Avatar. I liked the colors. I liked the way that it was shot. I liked the CGI. I liked it wasn't a unique storyline. Like I'm not going to give it that because that storyline is
Dances
kind
with
of
Wolves in space.
Basically, yeah. But I really enjoyed the chemistry of the characters. I like the fight scenes. I like the sex scene in the tree. Like there's a lot of things
where
in
they
that
put
movie
their hair braids together. Yeah. I love a Barbie style sex scene. Yeah.
Yeah. No kidding, man. I'm all about it. I do wish that there was boobies or subies. I think that because they were kind of like Aborigine alien people that they could have at least did a nip slip, but they didn't. I think that would have made it an A movie. But Avatar's a good film. I can watch it anytime it's on.
So it would not. It would have been all nips or like it would have been like the National Geographic titties, dude. You don't want to see those.
Yeah.
I'll say this. Avatar is the first movie that I ever went 3 times in a row.
Okay.
To the theater. I saw it in every way you could, 3D, even though I hate it. I saw it every way I could in the theaters right away. As soon as it came on DVD, I bought the extended. I bought everything about it. The problem with it is I don't need a sequel. It's back in the news again.
Yeah,
they're re-releasing it in a couple days or something to the theaters again.
It's Christmas time.
No, the new one. But I'm saying they're re-releasing the first one in theaters right now to get people back. Yeah. But the problem I have with it, as you said about the story writing, it's not. It's rememberable for me for the groundbreaking that it did with graphics and the storyline and the box
exactly.
office, it's not rememberable for me for the story at all. Like it's basic.
It's one of those ones that I can watch over and over. If it's on, I'll watch it. But I that's why I said it is not an original storyline at all. I'm with you. I do not need a sequel. Like, am I going to go watch the sequel? Yeah, probably. But I don't need it. Like,
the shade of the rose has weared off on that one for me. So I see it. I couldn't even put it in my top 5 or honorable mentions because I liked the film. I saw it so many times, but it didn't grow with me. It was one of those things. I'll never forget the moment and the atmosphere behind it, but I could forget the movie, if that makes sense.
Okay, fair enough.
Number 2 for me, we did name already, and you said this is one of my favorite films ever, is Moon.
Yeah,
with Sam Rockwell. I adore this movie. I have told everybody I know, if they have never seen this, to watch this. I actually watched this summer for the first. I made my brother watch it for the first time because he's like, "Hey, let's watch a movie." And he did that thing like, "What are we picking?" And I said, "You ever seen this?" He goes, "I've never even heard of that." And I put it on, and he's like, "That was actually a really good fucking movie," because it's an interesting thought. Right. It's great acting. It's a very simplistic plot in the sense of like it's pretty much 2 actors. And what I mean by that is somebody's voicing a robot and somebody's themselves, and he plays himself a couple times. But it's just it's a beautifully told basic story,
right?
That's simple, but you could watch it over and over again, and feel, it's one of those things like reading a book over and over. You feel like you're going to find something new, but you know you never will. But you're hoping something's there,
right?
That's what I love about that film.
No, it's a good movie. I've watched it at your recommendation. I think it's interesting. It's just not my favorite space film. So, and that's okay, but it's a good film nonetheless. My number 2 is Apollo 13. I love Apollo 13 for a number of reasons. I love the cast. You've got Tom Hanks, you've got Bill, whatever his name was, you've got Kevin Bacon, you've got all of these people that are in this film. It's based on a true story, which I enjoy biopics. I enjoy true stories. I enjoy realism in films. And this one sets you inside the spaceship predominantly for the vast majority of the film. And you're able to experience it from the astronaut's point of view. You're able to feel the weight. You're able to see the reaction of family and loved ones. I enjoy the film. Definitely one of my top 5 space films. If this was set entirely on Earth, I wouldn't have put it on this list. But because it was orbiting the moon, kind of, this is definitely a space film for me. Okay. So number 2.
So number 1, and I was actually happy to be where these are all in actual order for both of us for once.
Yeah.
Number 1 for me is Alien, the original movie.
Okay.
I will say this. I'm actually a big fan of Prometheus. I actually don't think it's that terrible of a film. I think it had some mishaps. Now I will say this about Prometheus. It's the most beautifully shot space movie in my opinion, besides one that didn't make my list, but it's a beautiful film. Like the landscapes, everything with the cameras. But Alien opened up so much, and they did so much with so little.
Right.
Like you can watch that now and still feel like it's in the future, even though the ship's like lights and stuff suck and the computers suck. It's just a great film overall. The acting's impeccable. They draw you in. They don't show the creature too much. They take their time.
Right.
But they also make you feel like that's how space would be. Like scary, alone, normal at times. You're also trying to normalize it. There's nothing about it that feels like even like the movie Passengers and stuff where it's like, oh, it's a giant cruise ship and look out these windows and like you don't see that in Alien. It's not like, oh, no. look at this giant glass ship, because that makes no sense, where we can see all the space. It's like you get a little window up front, you're flying, there's buzzers and fucking generators and steam flying everywhere. It reminds me of how it probably would be. And right. I like that. The realism of it. And also just the scene where they go on the other planet and they're traveling is like the shittiest 8mm film ever, but you can't look away. Right.
No, and like I said, dude, Alien almost made my top 5. I I absolutely enjoy that film. It's one of my favorites, probably of all time. And I just, being that it was part of a franchise is the only reason why it was left off my list. Um, and that's really it. There, I don't agree with, or I'm sorry, I don't disagree with anything that you just said about the film. I think it's a great film. Good number one pick. There's no criticism on my end.
Thank you.
You know my number one.
I
We've
hate you
talked
for
about this number
I
one.
fucking hate this.
I
pick.
love the movie Interstellar.
Fuck you. You turn
Interstellar
this off. This
is
sucks.
my favorite space film, and for a number of reasons. You and I have talked about this. I think that you would agree that this would be your space film if they would have landed the plane, if they would have ended it in a manner that you could have not digested because you're smart enough to understand what they were doing, but in a manner where it kind of fit the story, I think, a little bit better, or worked in an ending, whether it even be a chaotic ending or a bad ending or whatever. I think that you would have liked the ending where he wasn't in the library, manufacturing.
You mean the floating bookshelf in the middle of nowhere? Yeah, the floating dust bookshelf in the fucking black hole. Yeah, great.
Exactly.
What is up with Christopher Nolan wanting everything to fold in on itself and make it something that's so unfucking explainable? Tell me that.
I don't know.
Every fucking movie, like if you look at it in his genre of films, besides Batman, because he couldn't do it, but if they let him make Batman 4, I guarantee you there's a bookshelf in space that Batman goes to, and the world folds in on itself and it spins in a circle, and he can look up and go, "Why is a skyscraper above me? Look, that's Gotham Tower."
It'd be Batman versus Doctor Strange, and you just get it all folded in on itself. I love everything about Interstellar, the bookcase thing, the bookshelf thing. I understand what they were doing, and so for me, I actually appreciate the logic behind it. When I first watched it, I'm like, what is this? And it actually took me to research it a little bit, which I think is why I appreciate it. But up until that point in the film, I loved everything about the storyline. I love the fact that they were trying to find these other habitable Earths. I hated Matt Damon in the film. I'm just going to be flat honest. Matt Damon's a douchebag in the film. And it's not that I just hated his character. Like, I just didn't feel like Matt Damon needed to be there because I think it was the same year The Martian came out.
Yeah, Matt Damon is just if The Martian went crazy. That's all it is. It's the same fucking character.
Yeah.
Poop and potatoes and all.
So, but I really enjoyed a lot of the space logic around there. A lot of the time, how the time passed, how the space travel works, the aging, the consequences. I love the fact that Earth was not able to be fixed. And then Michael Caine, which is his name, Michael Caine, the actor, Michael Caine became evil, and like you didn't really know like what his motives were. I thought it was a great character arc for him. Interstellar is my favorite space film, period.
I'll say this, and I'm going to shit on you for once on this show because everybody shits on me, and you always shit on my draft day opinions. I'll say this: it's the most beautiful space film I've ever seen.
Certainly,
it's gorgeous. The planets. I hate the fucking square giant you make the most beautiful movie and you make the stupidest looking robot I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Just it looked like they were doing a callback to a Space Odyssey 2001, like you had the black like thing, and they just wanted something that walked and talked and was retarded. Matt Damon sucked in it. He's a douche. The floating bookshelf's the worst thing ever. Christopher Nolan needs to get another original concept of like things folding in on themselves and time travel. And I already hate time travel. I do enjoy that they used real science and it helped figure out things, but here's my hope and dream, B-word, just to shit on the whole world. I hope, just because like everybody's saying like that was the first time they actually like the filmmakers made a black hole and then they found out that's what they really look like. So they knew it before science. I hope they're wrong. I hope this movie is all wrong in like 10 years. Like they find out a black hole is actually rainbow inside and it looks nothing like that. And time travel doesn't work that way. So then everybody can shit on this movie later with me and be like, yeah, they said it was because science changes all the time. We used to not even think black holes existed. And then they made a movie about it and it sucked by Disney. And now you got this movie where they're traveling in bookshelves and black holes. And the movie just pissed me off. It was like every good movie that starts out great with a story and good characters and everything. And then they don't know how to end it. So they go, oh, what can we do? Let's put a bookshelf in space. There's gravity and dust and okra. Okra's gone. That's why he's flying. Like, that's what pisses me off, B-word.
So would you have appreciated it more if he would have went through the black hole and died, and then there would have been like some sort of credits that explained either how they survived or that this was the end of society in general?
Yep. Oh, I hoped everybody died.
Yeah.
Thanos was right.
Okay. Yeah. I can't really dispute your opinion because it's yours, but I'm just gonna be flat honest with you here. I love the movie. I even love the little Tesseract bookcase at the end. I love the thought process behind it. You talk about how you like those slow burn movies that have to make you think, that, you know, are challenging to the entertainment side. This movie was that for me. It made me think about all of these different things. And for me, not being a science expert, it was broken down in a way that I could digest, sans the bookshelf. But once I actually did some research on that bookshelf and I listened to scientists break it down, like, it made a ton of sense and it made me appreciate it a lot more.
I'll agree with
that's
that.
what I'm leaving.
I'll agree with that. And I do like that it's a slow burn and it is my style film. I think that was the other thing that made me mad, though, B-word, is everybody told me that, knowing me, going, you're going to love this film, Jake. You love science movies. You love fucking slow burns. You love thinking. You love sci-fi. And then I watched it and I was just like, ugh. But I'll say the thing that pisses me off the most in that movie, even though I went on that rant, is the intro, where it's breaking the fourth wall and you're watching the video that they show later in that, like when he goes to the remake of his house. Why even have that scene of the old people talking about dust and flipping plates over and stuff? That was the stupidest intro to that movie you could have ever had. You don't need to show me the fake documentary you made for a film that you're going to show me later in the film of the fake documentary in a fake house that you built of the guy that flew off, of the same old people talking about old dust. Show it in that scene. Don't open the movie with that. Open it with something better, like showing him, like when he was flying. All you have to do is open the film of him flying and the ship not working and whatever, and then you go on. You don't need a bunch of old people going, and we, you know, sometimes we flip our plates over because there's just dust everywhere, and I'm coughing and I'm old. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
You've earned the moniker tonight, my man.
Thank you.
You are definitely the hater. I really enjoyed this, dude. I think that space movies are underrated. I'm just gonna say that right now. I thoroughly enjoy them. And aside from you shitting on my favorite space film, you know, quick fuck you to you. But ultimately, I think that we came together with several good movies, several good talking points. Mogwais are aliens, and that's where I'm gonna leave it, my man. So with that, Jake, what do you got for us?
Thanks for all the dirty talk, and come back and get sanitized.